What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with huge update on Conor McGregor return. After Conor McGregor indicated on Instagram that the ball was officially rolling in regards to his return, media members were quick to ask Dana White to clarify the situation following this weekend's UFC Fight Night 229 card. While speaking with media members, White shed light on McGregor's status while also addressing a potential McGregor vs. Chandler fight at UFC 300.
No, he is not officially in the USADA pool. He submitted the paperwork. Probably by Monday, he'll be submitted.
And we're all kind of
again, don't hold me to that,
right.
But the paperwork is submitted next week sometime.
Yeah.
I literally have nothing planned with Conor McGregor right now. The paperwork is being submitted. We'll play it by ear, see how things work out. There's still a lot of things that have to happen as far as fights go, and then we'll decide where he's going to land.
With fight fans and Michael Chandler confident that the pair will collide at UFC 300, McGregor took to Twitter to give another update of his own, writing, "I'm back in the pool. Will be doing my stint at high elevation before the bout." If White's timeline was correct, McGregor would have officially entered the USADA testing pool sometime on Monday, October 9th, meaning that he will be cleared to compete 6 months from the day he officially enrolled, although no date has been given for UFC 300, with UFC 298 likely to take place in February and UFC 299 likely to take place in March. An April date for McGregor's return would likely line up with a historic UFC 300 card. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Next up, let's take a look at fighter breaks Dustin Poirier's record. At UFC Fight Night 229, Drew Dober picked up a big win over Ricky Glenn, returning him to the win column after a UFC 288 TKO loss to Matt Frevola back in May. With the performance, Dober now holds possession of the lightweight knockout record, passing Dustin Poirier on the all-time list in a moment that won't soon be forgotten. During the post-fight press conference, Dober spoke about the accomplishment.
It's very impressive, very impressive. I'm honored and I love it. But what it means to me is let's shed some light on my name. Let's get me some bigger and better fights because truthfully, I don't have the resume as Dustin Poirier, right? I mean, he knocked out Conor, twice? So I want that resume as well. So hopefully this minute record gives me the opportunity to expand on my resume, and then I'll keep looking for the knockouts, and Derek Lewis has 13, so that's a beautiful number.
Heading into the fight, Dober was unranked. However, after the victory, he could wind up sneaking into the lightweight rankings at number 15 behind Matt Frevola. Given that Dober likes to keep an active schedule, it's safe to say that after his first round knockout win, he'll look to get back into the octagon as soon as possible. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC fight updates. As we look ahead at the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024, the UFC has continued to round out cards with new and exciting matchups. With that in mind, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates. First up on the calendar, we have a change to the October 14th UFC Vegas 81 card, which will see Terrence McKinney take on Brandon Marat after Chris Duncan was forced out of the fight. McKinney will now look to build on an August win over Mike Breeden, while Marat will look to make a splash in his UFC debut. This week also saw Caio Borralho secure a new opponent for UFC Fight Night Sao Paulo on November 4th, after Nursultan Ruziboev was forced out of their scheduled fight. In his place, Abus Magomedov will now be stepping in as he looks to bounce back from his July loss to Sean Strickland. The following month, on December 2nd at UFC Fight Night Austin, Wellington Turman will compete against Jared Gooden in a bout that's sure to produce fireworks. Turman will be looking to snap a 2-fight skid that saw him lose to Randy Brown over the summer, while Gooden will be looking to rebound from a decision loss to Carlston Harris back in March. The card will also play host to a recently announced bout between Steve Garcia Jr. and Melquizael Costa, which will see Garcia look to build on a 2-fight win streak that saw him defeat Shayalan Nurdanbeki back in UFC 287. On the flip side, Costa will be looking to build on a July win over Austin Lingo, which marked his first victory under the UFC's promotional banner. Last but certainly not least, we have a scrap between Ricky Simone and Mario Bautista added to UFC Vegas 83 on January 13th. The bout will see Simone look to rebound from an April loss to Song Yadong, while Bautista looks to extend an impressive winning streak going back to 2022. With the end of the year rapidly approaching, expect the UFC to continue to announce more and more bouts as they fill out the remaining 2023 cards and the recently announced 2024 cards. Next, let's take a look at Joe Pyfer reacts to huge win and talks next UFC fight. This weekend, Joe Pyfer proved to his doubters that he deserved to be the co-main event spot on the UFC Fight Night Dawson vs. Green card, as he picked up a second-round submission win over Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. The win extended Pyfer's undefeated streak since joining the UFC last year, and put him in a position to push for a new contract from the promotion before his next fight. On the heels of the win, Pyfer spoke to media members to give his thoughts on the victory and call out his next opponent.
I mean, it's whatever the UFC is going to offer. You know, if I'm comfortable with it, I'll do it. If I'm not comfortable with it, I'll talk to my team. I'm still maturing. I'm still 27 years old. One thing I don't want to do is get myself so far up the ladder to where I can't keep growing, because now I have to keep fighting. And I'm fighting guys that maybe I'm not ready for. You know, in my mind, I can beat any man. In my coach's mind, their job is to say, hey, sit down, shut the fuck up, let's work on this, and this.
After his win over Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, Pyfer has set his sights on recovering from some injuries he's dealing with. In the meantime, he plans to keep a close eye on how things play out between Paul Craig and Brendan Allen. With Pyfer confident that Allen will win, he would like to compete against Paul Craig when he's ready to return to action. Next up, let's take a look at UFC fighter injury update. At UFC Vegas 79, Rafael Fiziev went down with a knee injury while throwing a kick, forcing referee Herb Dean to stop the fight. This week, Fiziev posted from Phuket, indicating that he had undergone surgery on his ACL, which he also injured 3 years prior. In a message to his fans, Fiziev wrote, "Just done surgery on my left ACL. Same injury I had 3 years ago. I will come back even stronger. Recovery starts now. Thanks for the support." Although he didn't give any indications as to when he could return to the octagon, it will likely take almost an entire year for the lightweight contender to be able to train at 100%. Meaning that by the time he gets a fight booked and completes a training camp, we may not see Fiziev until early 2025. Let's take a look at Bobby Green wants Dan Hooker next. After an impressive victory over Grant Dawson at UFC Fight Night 229, Bobby Green has set his sights on climbing the lightweight ladder in pursuit of a title shot. With 2 straight wins under his belt, Green revealed that his team is now targeting a bout with number 9 ranked Dan Hooker. While speaking with media members following the win, Green spoke about the situation, explaining that if he's medically fit to fight, he wants to turn around and compete once more before the end of the year.
My coach has been putting names in my ear. They said Hooker. They want me to fight Hooker. I'm like, okay, you know, if there's Hooker's down, I'm down. I'm down to even headline the prelims. I know that the cards got so stacked up. I just got to go check out my hand a little bit. I start sounding a little hammer fist. But if I'm good, I want to fight in December. I want to be able to be the most active fighter this year.
The call out caught the attention of the Hangman himself, who responded via Twitter writing, "Let's boogie, Bobby Green." Hooker, of course, is fresh off a win over Jalen Turner at UFC 290, which marked his second straight victory since returning to 155 pounds. Should the fight between the two wind up coming to fruition, it's safe to say fans can expect fireworks. Jon Jones' UFC plans get leaked. When Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic collide at UFC 295, it sounds as though it could in fact be the final time fans will see Jones compete inside the octagon. Although Jones had previously talked about retirement, fans have continued to hold out hope that the contest wouldn't be his last. In a recent Instagram post, the one and only Gordon Ryan seemed to indicate that this will indeed be the final time that Jones competes in the UFC. After a training session with the heavyweight champ, Ryan wrote, "Another few days of hard work with the man Johnny Bones. I'm looking forward to watching him put on the grand finale for fans and leaving the sport at the top on his terms and unbeaten. What an honor to be part of this last camp." Ryan then went back and edited the post, removing the word "last" from the caption, so the final line reads, "What an honor to be a part of this camp." With UFC 295 right around the corner, Jones is sure to field questions from media members about his potential retirement as we march closer and closer to fight night. Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa is now in jeopardy after Costa revealed that he had surgery on his elbow just 5 weeks before the UFC 294 card. It's unclear exactly what surgery he had, but his elbow had 10 stitches put in it, and he still needs to get cleared by doctors to be able to fight by October 21st. If he isn't cleared to fight, then the bout between Costa and Khamzat will be needing a replacement fighter. He posted on Instagram showing fans the post-operation pictures of his elbow and wrote this, "How strong are you? You never really know until you get tested by fire of life. I did surgery 3 weeks ago, 10 stitches, but I know how tough I am and continue improving and overcoming myself. It doesn't stop me. Still doing my things, sparring and everything. I'm so blessed. God gives me exceptional condition and surrounded by my great people."
This was a burst infection inflamed. So they need to remove the burst, the whole burst. So they open this like that, you know. But
Staph infection as well. Staph infection.
Staph infection. Mas, okay, we are 5 weeks to the fight right now, and you need to stay with stitches in your elbow for 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, we're gonna remove that, and we will left 2 weeks for you train. I say that's good. That's good news. There's enough. 2 weeks is enough to train. So I just asked for doc, please keep me in the fight. Even asking him to not let UFC know, but was not possible. So they report everything to UFC. The only way to not fight him if doctors, drag me out, screaming, kicking me, and not allow me go inside the cage, because I came to fight him and I truly believe I'm gonna beat him. He want one excuse to get out of this fight. He doesn't want that fight.
Top comments. Joe is talking like John is sticking around when Jones has hinted pretty much made it clear that he's looking at retirement after the Miocic fight. Conor lost both fights in and out of the octagon and still can't handle it. When has Francis ever been in a hurry to finish a contract? He's going to retire before the PFL contract ends, probably retire before his first PFL fight. Khamzat Chimaev, all respect to you, sir. Not only are you a good fighter, but you have a good brain too. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.